everyone, and welcome to Backseat Sports. I'm Josh, and that is Caleb. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we got to see the Huskers in action this weekend. Today, we're breaking down the spring game, some key takeaways, some things you might have missed in this game. We'll be going through it all today and talking about some of the things we learned about the depth chart in this game as well. There's a lot to go through. And man, Caleb, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. Fun to see some Husker football. You know, maybe not always the contact or the amount of reps that you might have wanted, but still, it was fun getting to see the Huskers coming out of the tunnel. 54,357 fans there, which was a good time.
I mean, for the state of the team, I mean, you'll take that from where we're at right now.
That's more than Iowa fills in for the regular season games, more than Minnesota's ever in their life there. So, you know, it's feeling good, you know. I mean, just give us a championship ring already.
That's like the whole attendance of Rutgers the whole season combined. I mean, that's pretty good. We'll take that for a spring game. 100%.
That's more, that's more than, you know, I think they've ever graduated from Rutgers, I think.
Oh, no. I mean, the irony is they probably have more NFL players than us the last decade. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, never mind. I didn't say anything. But we have a lot to break down today, obviously. And I mean, off the rip, I think we can start with the offense, the things that we really learned here. Like, I was surprised. I thought we had some pretty good takeaways for even not seeing like that much of any one quarterback or any one set or any select group of players. I thought we had some good takeaways, especially on the defensive and offensive fronts. Really looking at that balance we talked about in our preview video. Is that kind of what we were really dialing in on? So there's a lot to go through. So I think we can start where everybody wants to start off with, and that's kind of where the offense centers around and the biggest pieces already. Casey Thompson, the quarterback room. What were your biggest takeaways from seeing those guys on the field? Because there's a lot to go through there.
Yeah, again, Casey Thompson only threw 4 balls for us. So, you know, not a ton, but he had 56 yards. And, you know, a really nice strike to a no-name tight end there at the beginning into double coverage.
I mean, there was a lot of those in this game.
Yeah, again, with the injuries there. And it was a really nice ball over the corner and, you know, up high enough, right in the right place stride. Again, just a real confident strike. And I think that's really all you needed to see is, you know, that's a throw that we really didn't see in the last few years. So even if it's just a spring game, even if, you know, it's a meaningless game, you know, again, just really good to see that that's in his bag.
For sure. I'm with you. Like, you know, like that first throw to the sideline, kind of towards that double coverage, which, you know, on the surface, you're throwing in towards double coverage, whether or not that's the smartest decision, but the throw itself was executed beautifully. And that's a throw that, I mean, we haven't seen Adrian make a throw like that in his whole career. So that was exciting to see. You know,
and one that he will never make at K-State either. So.
Yeah, probably not. That's a thing. So that was nice to see a Husker quarterback make a throw like that. And it definitely shows the arm talent that he has. And he just, and like you said, he debuted that strength, especially on that strike across the middle there. So, I mean, we didn't really get to see any of those downfield bombs. We were hoping to see like Omar or anything on those lines, or really get to see much of Trey Palmer downfield either. But so we didn't learn as much about this game as, you know, the favorite targets where he's looking as we would have liked to learn, like what we saw from Adrian last year. But I mean, like you said, I'm right with you. I think overall positive signs for Casey Thompson, and he looked comfortable in there, and it gets me excited. Just a little bit of a teaser for the fall.
I mean, you asked me before the game, you know, how many reps do we see to think if he is the starter or isn't?
He locked
and just with how few he is, it's a lock that he's our starter at this point. There's no question. You can put that in your depth chart. Casey Thompson is a QB1.
I can't believe Frost was selling a QB controversy, and then we only see him throw 4 balls. Like,
yeah, and he's like, you know, we're just making sure. Yeah, Scott Frost, we're making sure we're keeping our guys healthy. Yeah, your guy that barely threw the football. Yeah, that'd be Casey Thompson. So, yeah, you can pencil that one in.
And I mean, basically he was the only one that didn't really have like a bad moment. Like everyone else had some sort of like, I don't know about that throw
except
moment.
For Matt Masker.
Oh, well, Matt Masker, he always makes the right play.
That guy's our QB2 now. He is climbing the depth chart.
That's right. That's right. Matt Masker, the savior himself. Yeah, so I don't know. It was interesting. I think overall, I'm right with you. I think we learned a lot about what this depth chart could look like moving forward into the fall. The quarterback room, Casey Thompson's the guy. And I don't know. How do you feel about Logan Smothers? There were some ugly moments there. I mean, Chuba was a little bit in and out there with some of his plays. I mean, Heinrich looked all right as well. Where are you at with those three? And how do you see that kind of sorting out? Obviously, at the end of the day, before we even talk, it's a glorified practice. Like, it's hard to take a lot away from any one given practice, but this is where guys need to show up and show out. The pressure's on in this, and knows it affects public opinion. So, I mean, with that said, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so, I mean, with Logan Smothers, I definitely think stock is going down from what we've seen. I mean, just that really bad throw, like, after he steps up into the pocket, nice, the one that, you know, just straight into triple coverage, like, yeah, that's like, a pick.
Omar's down there somewhere. Like, yeah, oh, yeah. No.
Thanks, Patrick Mahomes. Like, yeah, it was definitely not great. So I think stock is down for me on Logan. And, you know, I think part of that is maybe some of the offensive change, you know, that Whipple likes to throw the ball a little bit more. And I think that's just maybe a difference. And so I don't know that all of that, you know, maybe the read options there for him, but some of that passing stuff isn't. Where Chuba, you did see some athleticism from him, not unlike Logan, but maybe just a little bit more durable. But again, some of the throws just weren't there for him. But, you know, maybe you could chalk that up to, you know, he's younger and has got some stuff to figure out.
For sure.
You know, and honestly, Harburg, you know, people have talked about he has the biggest arm. I definitely think that he's definitely the most interesting. And I think we've all felt that. I think Husker Nation's felt that way for a long time. He's a very interesting candidate. He's got the build, right? He's got that.
Yeah, you look at him. He looks like a quarterback build. I mean, he looks like a guy that you see playing D1 football.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think he's one that I think a lot of people are rooting for, just with that pro potential. Again, just in the physicality aspect of it. So I think he's definitely interesting, and I think that honestly 2 through 4, you know, 2, 3, and 4 is a battle, and that will go down probably to the wire.
Yeah, and it could potentially change depending on what happens in the season too. I'm right with you. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, we saw a lot of that offset pistol in this game. Just a
3
lot
wide receiver
of that
sets
with bringing in like a tight end into the backfield as kind of that second halfback there, or like a fullback or a lead blocker, or kind of having him as an outlet guy for a quarterback. So we saw a lot of that there. We saw Chuba do a lot of that with the pistol. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, he definitely had some bad moments, like the jump throw in the red zone. You're like, oh, no, oh, Chuba, yo, bro, let's not do that. Or some of those moments. So there was like a 4th and 2 where it was like a really bad like throw across the middle that looked pretty ugly too. There's some moments there.
Well, and he just slipped and then absolutely took out whose Ace Hill
was that? I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, he destroyed somebody.
Was it Wyatt? I think it might have been Wyatt.
Yeah, it was Wyatt Lewer. Yeah.
And he nearly tore an ACL. Like, bro, calm down.
Stop taking out our own guys. This is spring game.
Yeah, so I'm right with you. I think I had the most notes on Logan, and it's like some like iffy ones there. There was like a 3rd and 9, a bad one to Yant across the middle, like on a little dump off across the middle. You're like, bro, like take your time on it,
way ahead of
get
him.
It out there. Yeah, it's like those turn into interceptions. So I would imagine most people probably walked away from this game pretty dang down on Logan. So we'll have to see what happens, man. I'll be interested to see how the coaches deal with that moving forward. So running backs wise, I mean, we didn't learn a lot outside of, you know, the flashiness from Anthony Grant, but this was the guy we wanted to see the most from, and probably was the guy that we did see the most from in this game. Coming in, transfer, seeing the first of Anthony Grant. We had heard of some of his bursts, some of his athleticism to get to the outside, and his vision touted by Tommi Hill. Thoughts on Anthony Grant?
Yeah, obviously he had the highlight reel moment of the whole spring game. And it kind of felt like Yant did last year too, so maybe that's a good sign. He had some speed, he had some nice cuts, and again, it looked like he could improvise a little bit in the middle in the backfield, which is probably going to be an important thing from what we saw out of our offensive line today that we'll go into later. But yeah, I think he showed some good things. He had a nice catch as well. And again, so he had some vision, had some good footwork.
Showed that speed to the edge too. I think that's legit. I mean, when we saw him, you know, that was Tommi Hill in that 60-yard touchdown trying to hunt him down, even with a nice angle from Tommi Hill, didn't catch him. So that's some pretty significant speed from a guy like Tommi Hill, was also touted as a pretty athletic guy coming in here too. So, I mean, I don't think it was just that he was against some of the backups. I think we saw a pretty legit Anthony Grant, and like in a spring game, all you're hoping to see is not a guy who sucks. All you want to see is someone who at least has some potential and showed it, and we saw it here. And so again, you don't want to overreact and say and crown him as the next breakout star. But I mean, the thing I know for sure is that he really, on that 60-yard touchdown, he has a really straight up running style, very similar like Mo Washington almost when he was around. Rip, and there's a lot more there, but I was excited. I'm right with you. I think the shiftiness, those first like quick small cuts were pretty exciting, and the vision definitely, it looked like there's some potential there. So I walked away very excited. And the rest of the running back room, I mean, we saw a little bit of Yant, we saw just a little bit of Ramir Johnson. I mean, nothing new there besides they looked solid as well.
Scott had one before he kind of got off injured.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Marvin.
But yeah, I think with Anthony Grant and with Yant, I think we'll be in a solid spot for the running back position. And again, it's just excited to see more, like you said. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential. So
yeah, exactly.
Very exciting.
Like that was like Anthony Grant teased you enough where you're like, I want to see more of this. Like show me more. And I would love to see even more. Okay, let's talk O-line, because this might be where we learn the most, because obviously like Turner Corcoran and Teddy Prohaska were not playing in this game, who are two locked and loaded starters, which I mean, you know, Turner, it's tough out there sometimes.
Hope not for one of them.
Yeah,
well, hope not for
Prohaska
Turner,
obviously looked good last year at this time. And so at the beginning of this game, we saw Brant Banks at left tackle, Newly at left guard, Hickson at center, Brock Bando at right guard, and Bryce Benhart at right tackle. I mean, the question we were really to see is like, yeah, okay, Hickson at center. We wanted to see some good signs, and it was a mixed bag to say the least.
I think mixed bag is a nice way to put it. I think he looked really bad.
Yeah, I agree. It was not good out there.
Yeah, I think Newly looked good. Again, good plays. Again,
he even got to the second level.
Yeah, again, understood football. When you look at some of our offensive linemen, it's just beside myself on them not understanding what they're doing,
or like how leverage works.
They look like a deer in the headlights, confused. What am I doing?
Like,
what
I'm
is
sure
my
it's
job?
Easier said than done, but like,
I'm sure it is. But at the same time, when you have guys that have been in the program who can do it,
I know,
and have been in the program less time than you and look that much better, it just tons of questions arise, and that is, you know,
I mean, Brock Bando.
Oh yeah, Brock Bando looked awful. I mean, he got torched, got cooked.
Yeah,
I mean, it was not pretty for him at any moment. Again, if you just go through and, you know, that's something you miss, is, you know, you're not watching every guy on the offensive line, you know, maybe, but if you go back and you just look at them and see who's doing well and who's doing not, Brock Bando's name is getting called for not doing well.
And so Ty Robinson was the guy who really exposed them basically twice, but that were like the really obvious ones.
On double teams.
Yeah, so that was the thing. Hickson and Bando had a double team on Ty Robinson twice, where he got through and basically disrupted for sacks on both plays. And you're like, oh no. I mean, like, again, Ty Robinson's like he's a starter. He's a legit player, and he's one of the leaders on his defensive side. But at the same time, like, it's not like Ty Robinson was a world star beast last year. I mean, like, Pro Football Focus had him ranked as like a 57.
This isn't one of the Bosa brothers on Ohio State.
So,
you know, hopefully this year,
I mean, that's the thing. Hopefully he has steps forward and he actually is great. But yeah, so that wasn't a great sign. Like, cause I mean, that's the thing. We actually know how good Ty Robinson is. He's like a respectable starter, but he's by no means some all Big Ten player. And so when you're getting torched by that, you're like, well, what happens if that's Ohio State? What happens when that's Michigan or Michigan State?
And again, you know, Robinson's making you look like he's that already.
Yeah.
And again, we know how that goes last year. Again, it's just a really rough season, and just to see no improvement from them is scary.
And those are seniors.
Again, you know, Bryce Benhart looked awful in the tackle spot again. You know, obviously Garrett Nelson, Caleb Tanner were just cooking them.
Yeah.
And like, again, sometimes just the no leverage, like they were getting stood straight up so quickly into the play.
Yeah.
Again, just
we'll see.
So many questions,
that's
so
what
few
I'm interested.
answers.
So I guess let's say Newly's locked in. He's a starter. I mean, Newly's going to be there.
Look good. Again, looked solid again in the spring game. That's exciting. Prohaska looked good last year, but we'll have him back. So
you'll have Turner at right guard. You'll have Newly at right, or you'll have Turner at right tackle, Newly at right guard, and then you'll have Trent Hickson at center, and then Prohaska at left guard, and probably Bryce Benhart at either right or left tackle, depending on how we deal with Turner and Bryce this year.
The good news is we had Hunter Anthony, who came in and transferred, and he looked really solid in all the time that he got. He's playing on the second team a lot, but he did look good. Again, got to the second level. Again, just played aware football of no, you know, if he needed to help somebody or the blitz wasn't where he thought it was going to be of picking that up.
He got to the second level on that really nice, like 15 or 20 yard run to the right side. That looked really good. So
yeah, and he also recovered pretty well when he lost the initial battle up front a couple times.
Got stood up and reestablished leverage.
Yeah, he reestablished leverage, and then also one other one that kind of stood out to me that I wasn't really seeing whatsoever was Kevin Williams Sr. From Northern Colorado. He's really
big guy. Oh,
but again, he also was getting to the seventh level at times. Yeah, he was, and again, looked strong, and you never really saw him got handled. Again, he's probably not going to play a tackle position. He'll be a guard. He'll be a guard, but again, I think he'll be really serviceable for us.
I agree.
And somebody that I think could be really solid. So if you take that, those two as maybe where we know that Brock Bando isn't great at right guard, maybe he can be that for us. We saw that the coaches had to make changes this last year too. So I think if that's the case, hopefully before the season ends, either our O linemen get better, or these guys come in and fill in fast. And
so I mean, how do you feel like? Do you feel like this is potentially there's opportunity for a step forward? I mean, again, with Prohaska coming in here and Newly looking better, I mean, I think there's no opportunity to at least see some improvement from last year. That's not saying much considering the bar was so low, but it feels like we could be in at least a slightly better spot once the season starts than we were last year at the end of the year.
Yeah, it depends. Again, we need these guys to improve, and then we need Hickson to get a lot better at center.
Yeah, that's a big key.
Hickson, that's a lot's going to be on that.
He seems immobile and just...
Yeah. He snapped the ball fine, which is one thing. But again, he was just... It felt like he was getting just overpowered most of the time.
And we're talking a lot about this because it really is the biggest takeaway probably from this game overall.
Because we saw the most reps from them.
Yeah, and a lot of guys we hadn't seen, not to mention it's potentially the biggest X factor for this offense being effective this year compared to what they were like last year. So it's a pretty massive situation here. So overall, really interesting. So, I mean, I'll take a slightly positive outlook versus where we were at last year towards this upcoming season. And then that could be the difference for this team when it comes to running the ball and protecting Casey Thompson and letting him throw the ball downfield. So we will see. So other offensive notes, I mean, some of the tight ends world, like AJ Rollins, he was kind of one of those freshman guys who made nice plays. From Omaha. And he ended up having 4 catches, one including a 27-yarder, and looked pretty good considering all the top 4 tight ends were basically not playing in this game. So it is pretty crazy. The offense managed 9 first downs over 12 possessions in 57 plays, which is not great. But you'll take what you can get overall. So all right, on to the defensive side. First off, I would say just overall philosophy, a lot of multiple different fronts we're looking at here. We saw near the goal line, we saw even 5 guys coming in, even in the 3-4, sending 5. We saw a lot of 4-3 in this game, even with both Caleb Tanner and Garrett Nelson with their hands in the dirt. So I think that was the first big takeaway, is that we're going to continue to see a lot more multiple D here, which we saw a decent amount last year, even with some nickel there as well, with Caleb Tanner and Garrett Nelson with their hands in the dirt too.
With a lesser offensive line, which we all kind of knew coming into it, I thought our defensive line did what they needed to do, which was really take over this game and overpower them and look good. And so that's great. And, Caleb Tanner and Garrett Nelson, when it got into the goal line, having them near the line, again, Garrett Nelson was our most effective, quarterback pressure guy last year.
By far.
And to see that, again, that he just took over the game again, with weaker tackles was really exciting.
And when he can't hit a quarterback,
Yeah, exactly.
That's exciting. He took over a game when he's not even motivated to really take over the game.
And Caleb Tanner looked good too, again, with some of those speed rushes from him. That was solid. And again, Ty Robinson, the same way. He was handling those double teams really well. Granted, it was Trent Hickson and Brock Bando, but again, still being able to get to the quarterback, disrupt plays.
Right back with Caleb Tanner as well. We saw that really nice moment where he lined up on the outside shoulder of the tight end, went around the edge. I think it was Bryce Benhart beat him on their outside for the sack. I mean, there's just some opportunity there where Caleb Tanner looked really quick. And like you said, Garrett Nelson as well. He was talking about after the game that his big priority in this offseason so far has been to bulk up and then create explosiveness and speed and overall power. And he said he's added 10 pounds of muscle, he's now shredded to 4% body fat. So that gets me pretty excited. Get me a little tingling heading here into the offseason with the potential of the pass rush up front. Like we even saw like Jamari Butler, the redshirt freshman from Mobile, Alabama, with that fantastic sack.
Yeah, that was nice.
I get pretty excited about the potential of this up front. But like you said, we talked about in the last video, and you mentioned it, like all we wanted to make sure we saw is that one side of the ball dominated the other, because we didn't want to have this like, oh no, which one is better? We don't know. Like that would have been worst case scenario. So it's obvious the defensive front dominated this game. And that's a positive sign, like you said.
That just gives us confidence, going into some of those easier non-conference games when we need them to really take over. I feel like that they'll be able to do that for us this season.
On to secondary, like you said, Quentin Newsome, Braxton Clark. A little bit surprised. I mean, I thought Tommi Hill would start over Braxton Clark. So that was a little bit surprising to see, I guess.
And I definitely do think that could still happen. Maybe it's just too early in the season. They still trust him more. And yeah. But, I think he's still got a lot of snaps in the game. So, he'll probably still earn his black shirt even if he doesn't.
I mean, Clark did not look good last year in the time that he had. I mean, he was coming off the injury the previous season. I think he played 122 snaps last year. Yeah, 122 snaps last year. Yeah, not ideal for him. He was one of the lowest graded players on the defense last year. And I 100% agree with that. I don't think he was very good at all. But he did have a nice game. He ended up having a tackle for loss and a pass breakup. So how do you feel about it? Like, do you feel like Tommi Hill eventually gets the job?
I think it'll be close. I would assume he does. I would assume he gets the job, and then Clark comes in kind of, as needed.
I mean, to be fair, Tommi Hill, like you said, like he is a transfer from ASU. He may not know the defense as well. Clark does. Yeah. Like that's fair.
Scott Frost is a big trust guy, and we know that he's not quick to make changes.
No.
But maybe that's different there with Chenander. Maybe we see that, but yeah, I would assume that maybe Brax doesn't get the job right away. And then lastly, a guy that, again, we lost, JoJo Domann, who is probably, again, for 4 seasons, one of our biggest X factors in the game.
The biggest X factor.
Yeah. I mean, even his freshman year. So Isaac Gifford has giant shoes to fill. And, they've said that he's kind of heir apparent to this nickelback role. Even though I would, again, maybe rather see Reimer switch this because he was so good, so effective in pass coverage. But yeah, Isaac Gifford had a good day, 4 tackles and a nice pass breakup. Again, giant shoes to fill. And I felt like, again, JoJo was kind of the thing that made our defense run the way that Chenander wanted it to. So I think for this to work and for us to run our defense the same way we did last year, Isaac's going to have to step up big time.
No, I agree. Like last year he had 30 snaps inside the box and 61 snaps at slot corner. So he definitely is playing that type of role when it comes to being a hybrid guy. And I think last year as well, he looked promising. I mean, we saw like nice plays in both coverage and making tackles around the box. I think the only game where he had some bad moments was against Iowa when it came to, I remember talking about some bad tackling in that game. Yeah. But besides that, I think we saw the potential in this game, and he looked good too. So I'm right with you. I think that's the player early on in this season. I'm going to be staring at Eric Gifford there and seeing how he's making plays and what he can 100%. do. With Isaac Gifford and see how he makes plays.
I mean, I think that's about the defense. And I guess lastly it was Brian Buschini, our punter,
making his debut.
While our new kicker isn't on campus yet, which thank goodness, because our place kicker was having a rough time at those field goals. But he averaged 40.2 yards per attempt. But he did have a 63-yarder, but he also shanked one for 14 yards. Hopefully he got the bad one out though. So, no more shanks. They're all going to be 63 yards.
No more punting to the opposite side of the field when you're winning a game, and don't let it get returned for touchdowns. That type of stuff. We want to avoid that. That's kind of what we're trying to avoid.
I got that out of my brain.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I'm in a dark place now.
I know. It is tough out there.
So again, the 63-yarder is promising. Again, the 14-yard punt is terrifying.
I think overall he looked all right though. I mean, I was looking at it. I mean, for a guy coming in, it could be worse. So I think that's the overall fairly promising side moving forward, and obviously keeping an eye on that down the road here too. So the final thing here that was announced here over the weekend was the NVEST program, which was interesting because it's actually an NIL situation here, which I wanted to add on just because it's kind of worthy news, I guess. But the announcement was that basically for each player who's on scholarship, if the team they're on hits the certain criteria of academic success for their team, which is the overall academic progress rate, the APR of that given team, that player is going to receive $5,980 for the year. So like, it's a pretty significant investment in NIL, which I can't believe this is even like I don't even know how this works with NIL. I don't really understand it outside of the fact that I'm down. Because I mean, it adds extra $6,000 a year of value to a scholarship in Nebraska, which is a pretty significant thing for any player.
For just doing your homework.
Yeah, so that's pretty insane. The fact that's gonna be a few $1 million per year for the athletic department. Maybe that's gonna have to be paired with selling alcohol at the stadium to kind of make up for those. We'll drink our way to success. But yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens. But that was something to keep in mind. I mean, overall, can't be a negative, and hopefully it helps in recruiting throughout the next few years as well. So,
that was the other thing. Raiola was there too. Man, even Nebraska's main Twitter account posted his dad with not him, but him just in just a black silhouette. So like it was on the borderline of tampering.
Yeah, wow.
But they were really trying here to get Raiola's son, who again is crystal balled for USC.
No, that's absolutely fascinating.
But yeah, so hopefully
we can get a little flip in there and make it happen.
Obviously Nebraska getting a 5-star QB, again a legacy player would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, really, really cool. The only other thing I want to mention was that I saw that Nebraska Athletics on their YouTube started like a document series, like it's called The Place. It only has like 5,000 views right now, but I thought I'd shout it out because it's pretty cool. It's like a behind the scenes like documentary series. So that's cool. Check it out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Drop your comments down below, your biggest takeaways from the spring game. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us, and there'll be more content this summer. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Appreciate you guys for hanging. We'll talk to y'all very soon. As always, I'm Josh. That's Caleb. This has been Backseat Sports, and we will see you next time. Go Big Red.
Go Big Red.